Hello, my wonderful friends from Enlightened World Network. It's a real pleasure for me to be back to this wonderful network. I have been away for a long time because I had to work, and now we can work in presence in Italy, and because the lockdown is over. And so I had to go around traveling for work a lot. And people are trying to catch up, with all the things that have not been organized during the lockdown. People are very busy, and I'm very busy too. But in any case, I would like to come back to Enlightened World Network to really work on this wonderful family of people and sharing my knowledge and my experience. I attended some very interesting courses last summer, and one of them in particular was really interesting for me, but I think it is interesting for many other people because it was a course on a higher self. Many people have a very close connection to their higher self. The higher self is the part of us which is more evolved, more expansive, and connected to the quantum field, to angelic helpers, invisible helpers, to other dimensions. And it is the part of us which is absolutely multidimensional. And but we also have a body, so we live in a three-dimensional existence, and we should be able to reconcile both of them. So having a close connection to our higher self is really very, very important. And even in the past, I had learned some techniques to get more in touch with our higher self, because many people do not have this contact, unfortunately, either because nobody ever talked to them about it, or because generally as children, we have a close connection to our higher self, to our higher dimension. Children do not make a difference between our 3D reality and a fifth dimensional existence. But when we grow up, we tend to forget, we tend to get very real and, only live in what we can touch and see with our eyes. So for many people, the higher self is something very strange. Some people call it soul, of course. Yes, our soul is a higher self, sure. So people who have a faith, who pray, have a great connection with this part of their being. But not many people. So I learned some very easy exercises to get more in touch with our higher self. And the exercise is to teach ourselves how to receive the messages from the higher self, starting with very basic things, baby steps, as I say, asking questions such as, shall I have coffee this morning or shall I have tea? What is better for my health, for example? That is a very innocent question that doesn't really entail any major changes in your life. So at the beginning, I would not venture into questions such as, should I get a divorce, or should I have a baby, or should I change my job, or should I change my home? So I would not do that at all. But if we start with baby steps, with very innocent questions, and then we learn how the messages arrive from a higher self, we can get more in touch with it. So we can venture on more significant questions, on more significant choices. And many people ask, how can they discriminate the messages coming from the higher self or from our mind? Well, a very basic distinction is that the messages coming from our higher self are never based on fear. They never bring discomfort or disquiet. They generally bring energy, and they do not remove or take away energy. So we should feel empowered. We should actually feel empowered and to have more energy, to have a greater sense of expansion, and we should not feel restricted or retrenched. This is the basic difference. So if any message comes to you from and it has an element of fear, an element of retrenchment, an element of separation, that doesn't come from our higher self, because our higher self is there to guide us for a higher good. So the messages coming from the higher self are always calm and comforting and powerful. And the more we advance with these steps, the clearer they become every single day. And it's really nice to see how we evolve, that it takes at least a month to get used to a new practice, to have the neuronal networks created to be able to do something with ease and grace. And so these exercises should be at least practiced for a month. This is a very interesting practice. And I think that, doing it gives you a lot of insights. Even if you have a great relationship with your higher self, I think that even trying these easy exercises is really important for all of us. But during this course, we did a practice that I loved very much and that I would like to share with you. It is a practice of gratitude for our higher self, in the sense that we are generally, most people know what gratitude is. Gratitude as a feeling is easier to understand for many people than love, which is incredible. But when we talk about love, we tend to equate love to romantic love, which is wonderful, of course, which is part of love. And it's not all the love that is. And when we talk about expansive love, the love of the higher self is unconditional love. And I think humans, very few humans know really what unconditional love is. Mothers have sort of unconditional love with respect to their children. I say that because there are so many social conditionings, so many social pressures, also and slogans or ideas about what it is to be a mother, what it is to be a good mother. And sometimes all these thoughts and all these obstacles may interfere with the love that we feel. But of course, probably the love between a mother and a child is actually very close to unconditional love. It is something that makes you think that about this kind of love. But when we talk about unconditional love, this is what our higher self has for us as a being, because we are multidimensional beings. We have a body, but we have also a multidimensional part of ourselves that is able to be connected. And that part of ourselves is really capable of unconditional love. So that is why messages coming from the higher self are never based on fear, because they come from unconditional love. So the higher self only wants the best for us, what is really good for us. And really not what we think it is good for us, but what it's really good for us. And so having a great relationship with the higher self is so important. But it is also very important to be grateful to our higher self, because, as I said, gratitude is something that most people can resonate with. So many people do already a gratitude practice, and we are grateful for everything we can see, we have, but we tend to always be grateful for something outside of us. We can be grateful to our wonderful angel friends, to our wonderful invisible helpers, but we always perceive them as outside of ourselves. So we never stop thinking about the part of us which many people believe is inside, but it is everywhere. But in any case, what we have inside is so that sparkle, that light we have, that is always guiding us, always supporting us, and always giving us the best possible pieces of advice, suggestions, whether we listen or not, or whether we can actually perceive these messages or not. This sparkle, this light is working 24 hours a day, 7 days per week. It's never ending. It never stops. But we never stop and really be grateful for the higher self. So I learned this gratitude technique practice that we can do every single day, just to give a little thank to our higher self. And I have seen by practicing this kind of gratitude that I am more in touch with the higher self, and the higher self is more in touch with me, in the sense that it is a kind of process. It is a virtuous circle that is created. So the more gratitude I feel for my higher self, the stronger the higher self becomes, because the higher self perceives that there is greater connection. So the greater the connection, the better our lives. So it's something really, it's a win-win game for everybody. And so this practice is very easy to do, because we can do it during our meditation. It can be a fleeting word of gratitude wherever we are, whether we are driving the car in the office, or whether we're walking or running. It takes just 1 second to do that. Of course, meditating on the higher self and being really grateful for the higher self during, a thorough meditation may be more powerful, but it doesn't matter. I tend to do this practice when I walk, because I love walking very much. And I do my gratitude practice by walking, and I always devote a little bit of gratitude to my higher self for all its unwavering support, all its unstopping work, and stream of consciousness, we can say. It's actually a stream of consciousness. It's coming always from the higher dimensions, which is, of course, amazing. Some people are very close to their higher self, especially artists, creative people, who are able to download this amazing knowledge or amazing beauty directly from the universe, directly from the quantum field. And it is a higher self that is able to create this connection. So we should be really grateful for what we have, because having the sparkle inside of us means that there is always hope, and there is always the possibility to change. And there is beauty everywhere. I always ask every single morning in my intentions to be able to see beauty wherever I am. It's actually a practice that it works very, very well. And unfortunately, in our era, in our time, we're not so much educated to beauty. As, for example, some ancient cultures, so sorry, ancient cultures were, or classical cultures such as the Greek or the Romans. Since I live in Italy, we have a lot of archaeological and cultural heritage. And when I go visit some temples, I was in Pestum, for example, in the south of Italy, when we still have Greek temples in a beautiful plain overlooking the sea. And when you see the place, you realize that the concept of beauty was really ingrained, integrated into the minds and the hearts and the souls of these people. These people were really able to choose beauty, to work for beauty, to create beauty, and to make this wonderful world a little bit more beautiful. And unfortunately, today, in our modern society, the concept of beauty is not so important. While beauty is actually a window towards heaven, when I think of what the multidimensional existence is, I always perceive it as if immersed in beauty, in something extremely beautiful. And generally messages, always messages coming from the higher self are beautiful, are nice, are sensible. Even if we don't want to listen, sometimes I say, oh no, come on. I would like to really have coffee, even if I know that, the nth cup of coffee is not going to be good for me. But messages coming from the higher self are really sensible, and they really make sense if we are able to listen. And they really make sense for us because each one of us is different. And the higher self is like a treasure box. And we can find so many things in there if we just venture to look into this beautiful box. And I like, for example, it's the sentence "out of the box," because when I think, people who think out of the box, people who can be very creative, who can use the parallel thinking to arrive at certain conclusions that are different from our usual way of thinking, our usual way of dealing with problems. But every time I hear this expression, I actually think or feel as if somebody is actually opening this wonderful treasure trove and taking out something directly from the quantum field. I love this visualization. And so every time some person uses out of the box, I just see that person, taking something from that box, that is the quantum field, and bring it here to make a difference. So this is the practice I learned, and I wanted really to share it with you because I think it is beautiful. It is a beautiful practice. It is easy to do. I want to do a meditation about that. Sometimes I do meditations on Enlightened World Network. My next meditation will be meditation to show gratitude to our higher self. And I hope that you will be able to join me in that meditation. I am going to talk to Ruth Anderson and see whether we can organize it very, very soon. And with this, I would like to say goodbye, and I'll see you in 2 weeks on Monday. I have changed my day. So my day was on Tuesday after this long period of traveling and work I had during the summer. Now I'm back in Rome, so I am more stable and I can do my programs. And so every other Monday at this time, which is, for me, it's pretty late. It's 10:50 in the evening. Now we no longer have daylight saving time because we are going towards the winter, and the weather now is not really that good. And I don't know what Eastern time it is, maybe 4:30, maybe 5:30. I always get confused. So every other Monday, I have my program on silver reflections, and I want to share with you some of the things that I learned during the courses that I attended last summer. And with this, thank you and have a wonderful day, my friends. Bye.